Good morning, everybody. This is Greg Colossale. I'm doing another business video, and this one is called Resilience. In business, and it isn't even just in business, it's when you do your own thing. Okay, but we're doing a business series, so I'll kind of place it inside a business. But this characteristic and these incidences that I'm going to be sharing with you, they happen when someone goes their own way. Okay? It is across the board. It's been happening for thousands of years, and people won't tell you this because it's so dark. It's very horrendously evil and heavy and betraying and so many things. Now, I had two great parents. I guess these are them here. I had my mother, who was an American, who was loving and sweet, and she was like a sage, and she was a very special woman compared to the women that I have come across in my life. My mother was unique. I thought she was the norm, and she's not. She was unique. I almost want to do a whole series on my mom because of what she taught me and what she showed me, but it's not going to be effective here. She would caution me about things that I was doing and saying and acting like, but it was soft. It was a soft blow. And then there was my father. My father was the opposite. My father did not caution me on my actions unless they were illegal or threatening to another person. He would pop me right in the back of the head if I did something wrong. But he didn't stop me from my forward motion. And he would stop my mother from trying to stop me from forward motion. So if I had an idea, like I wanted to, I don't know, build a tree house in the backyard, of course I could. If I needed lumber, he'd buy it for me. If I needed a hand, he'd send me an employee in order to lift me up, or he wouldn't build it for me, but he would give me whatever resources he had to help me build this treehouse. Now, once I did the treehouse and I hung out in it, my friends would come over. They didn't have a treehouse. They would like my treehouse, kind of, and even use it when I wasn't there. Can I use the treehouse? You know what I mean? This didn't ever dawn on me as being unique or weird or odd because I was always, in a sense, building tree houses. But a lot of the people that I hung out with were not. They were playing it safer. So it's good to have a friend who's got a tree house than having to risk your parents hating you, being mad at you, saying no, yelling at you, tearing down your tree house. So this is what I mean when I say this isn't about business. This is a fact of life that I never knew until I got older. And so you need what I call resilience because these people aren't bad. Your friends who don't have tree houses aren't bad people. They're your friends. But they don't have something that you have. And it's kind of a combination of vision and resilience. Because if I was set out to do this, none of them could have stopped me from building the treehouse. They couldn't mock me. They couldn't laugh at me. They couldn't bully me. Nothing was going to work because I was backed by these two energies. The gentle sage of a mom and the reassuring, powerful father. And they might have had the same too, in some regard. So when you're destined or you're carving out your life in the world, you will start to realize it takes decades that there's been these people around you the whole time wishing you wouldn't succeed at whatever it is. Let's say something as simple as the treehouse. Now you don't understand this because you have a vision, you have a desire, and it could be small. Could be as small as building a fort in the basement with blankets for the next 2 hours. But you're going to do that. And whoever gets in the way of that is a very big nuisance, stressor, oh, you don't even understand how to deal with them because you can't see beyond the next few hours of building a fort. Now, I've done this with my entire life. Almost every part of my entire life, I've had a vision. Other people have destroyed or altered my vision because of my lack of confidence or resilience, knowing that this was how it's going to be. One of the most obvious ones was my marriage. Now, to set the tone, I proposed and married a very gentle, sweet woman, and she still is today. For year after year after year, we dated for 4 or 5 years. I would end up walking away from it 3 or 4 times in that time. And I felt better. I didn't feel like better because I hurt her. That's the part that is awful. I just could only understand that when I wasn't in a relationship with her, I was better. And again, this is so insulting. That's not the right word. I didn't want to be with her, but I didn't know I didn't want to be with her because every time I walked away, she and some friends, this is the strange word, would surround me and say, you're not right. You're not well. You're depressed. Your father, whatever. Okay, they'd make up these intense reasons why my actions were so bad. So I didn't understand this. I thought these were my friends, but now that I look back, these friendships are very, very different. So I even told, and so after 8 months of marriage, I ended our marriage. Only after 8 months. We were 30, I was 30, 31, she was 25, 6, 7, somewhere in there. And I told her, I said, listen, sweet woman, you're a badass woman, but what we're doing isn't real. The pressure of society, the pressure of our job, the pressure of community, her community, all this pressure came my way. And we followed the pressure, and all I knew was that it wasn't going to be good. She wanted a typical life, which is normal. She wanted children and a house and a couple of Volvos in the driveway, and she was going to get this no matter what. This was her goal. I knew that wasn't something I was dying for. I had a dream of success following my heart. Because I'm creative and artistic, it was creativity. I want to start a really unique business. I want to write songs. I want to travel and see. And I knew that I wasn't going to come home at 5:00 every day, sit down and have dinner. But I knew that's what she wanted. So this is where I was weak and I fumbled. The worst thing I ever did was marrying her, not because she's awful, because I had to then divorce her, which is all just so much freaking pain, so ridiculous. Everything I did was ridiculous, but because I married her. If the night before I called it off, which would have been still a devastation, we would have lost $40,000 or whatever the money was, that would have been smarter than to marry her, because I'm still always ashamed of what I did. Now, as soon as I separated and we were in different places and we started the process, she was so amazing. This is why I have a lot of things to say about the female species, but I can't ever really dig up stuff about my ex-wife. It would be lying. She's a tremendous person. And she has a couple of kids. She's got a great husband. She's got a American routine that I believe she likes. She's a teacher, and things are good. I mean, I see her kids. I see her. She's happy as a clam. So the most beautiful thing about being me is that if I didn't do these hard things, like push them away, declare that this wasn't a good thing, make the move for divorce, those 2 children, or 3, I believe it's 2, would never be born. They would not exist. And that's how confident I am about who I am and how I move in the world. I usually help a lot of people. I always have. This was not helping her as some assistant. But I know that she could look in the mirror and be like, would I rather be married to Greg or would I rather have these 2 children? My ego is intact. She would rather have her 2 children, which would not exist if I didn't leave the situation. Okay, now I tell you that not because I want to hurt her. She's amazing. There isn't a month that goes by that I don't regret just playing the role and whatever, because she's an unbelievably good person. You know what I mean? It would be a great teammate. But the resilience part of me knew that I have to do hard things to be right. Now, the people that came around me, so this is their line. They're all unified by this line. Anytime I realize I'm being attacked or trying to be held back or being accused of something, this group of people, connected through a few little branches, say the same thing, and that's how I reveal them. They go, wasn't your father like a very abusive guy? And the answer is kinda, sometimes, to some. But he was a disciplinarian, and he was a really aggressive and physically violent person. But he wasn't a drunk, he wasn't a drug addict, he wasn't a user of chemicals. If he brought out this energy, it was to teach a lesson that was clearly needing to be taught. Now, he was an Italian immigrant, and he had all these different, he saw the war, he saw a lot of things that these American parented people never heard of or had no experience in. They went to college and they grew up in neighborhoods and they've been middle class for 150 years. So I knew, and the help of my mother, remember I told you how ingenious she was, she had to help explain to me, your father is not like other people's fathers, Greg. You're not going to play basketball with your dad, but he'll start a business with you when you're 7. He'll open up a whole company with you and for you and show you how to build it. And then when you're 20, you'll have $1 million in the bank. Your friends will be drunk at 20. They'll be buying drugs. They'll be doing drugs. They won't think like this because they've never been impoverished. Your father has seen the bottom of evil, of poverty, of Mussolini, of death, of betrayal. So this is who your father is. He's not going to play catch with you. He doesn't even know how to put a baseball glove on. But if you want to go to the bottom of the ocean and hand grab as many lobsters as you can, he will show you how to do that. Your father makes production. He's a productive man. He cannot see. Why would you waste your time throwing a ball back and forth and back and forth? Is there some growth in that? And again, I'm not judging. I'm just trying to show you. I knew who my father was, but all these strangers try to come at me as if your father was a very bad man. I'm like, he's bad? That's ironic because Jackie Kennedy, Jimmy Carter, and even Ronald Reagan all had ties to him. But he was bad. Unlike your father, who nobody knows, who listens to everything your mother says, has no self-direction, and believes he's so lost, all he does is do what his woman says to do. Time to cut the lawn now, isn't it, Larry? I'm not saying it's bad, but please, you don't understand the power of an amazing man. I do. So when he did stuff that was scary, like slap you in the face, you go, why did he do that? Well, I told my mother she was a beep, 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 and beep, and beep, beep, beep. And he said, you ever talk to my wife like that again, I will break your back. You know what I mean? Now, he doesn't really mean he's going to break my back. It's kind of like when you go, I'll kill you. You're not going to kill anybody. But what he's trying to show me was that was his woman. And if I'm going to deface his woman, like any man, if you want to be man enough to deface someone's woman, you're going to get punched in the face. Not the new generation. They dox you. They take videos of you and try to turn you into a loser. That's why they're broken. But okay, so this was hugely important for me to understand. But you can't communicate it to the spoiled. there's people out there who don't even understand what I'm saying. Like, oh, he's a monster. So once I noticed this trend, I was witness to crimes, many horrible, vicious, dark crimes, but the guilty parties brought me aside, even set me up with a fake cop and all this stuff, a real cop who was in on it, and said, when I exposed this and I think this is happening, I think this is happening, I just watched this, I need some help, I'm very afraid this person's threatening me. The guy went, didn't your father beat you? I was like, what? So they're all in the same team because they're all worried that the truth will get out. And they don't want anyone to know the ridiculous things that they've done. So I've been the scapegoat for a long time, not even caring. Well, it's fine. So this is what I mean when I say resilience. Now, my father the whole time would say, Greg, that's not your friend. He's not your friend. And I didn't believe him. Everybody liked to call my dad crazy. And he was in 2005, 2009, in the new millennial in America, his ways at 78 years old appeared crazy. But he wasn't crazy. He was as crazy as Jesus. He was as crazy as Abe Lincoln. He was as mouthy as Martin Luther King. He was as justice-seeking as JFK. What happened to all those people I just listed? You see, the tyrannical, the weak, the deceptive, the psychopathic, they know when they're around a superhero. I've got men on recording saying straight to my face, your father was a real-life superhero. That's who I was raised by. So resilience is something that is so essential to grab a hold of that I am going to tell you, you cannot survive in business without it. You will get all kinds of people shooting at you. In fact, for the last 5 years, I have reduced or lost or not accessed any of my resilience. Okay? Any of my resilience. None of it. Why? Because I don't have any need for it. Really, I don't. I am in a vacationing mode. I am rebuilding and looking at the world ahead of me. But that is something that's very different than what people look at as resilience. Now, when you are dealing with fake friends, you don't know they're fake. They know they're fake. But they smile and they do stuff in front of you. I don't know. I have never, again, because I was raised by a gigantic set of testicles. There's no other way to say this. If I didn't like somebody, I just wouldn't engage with them. I wouldn't go on a campaign to hurt them or anything. I was just like, okay, you're over here. I'm going to go this way. I didn't go, I just said, okay. Now, that's because I don't even believe that my opinion of them is important to hurt them. If I think you're a no good, that's my own ego weakness. That's me just becoming a ball of mush. So if I felt that way about them, I didn't tell them. Why would I want to hurt them? You know what I mean? Why would I want to? It doesn't mean I'm right just because I'm like, so you need to build, when you build your resilience, you build this in a way because you understand that this person or this relative or that relative, they're not going to be what you need them to be. And they may never have been what you thought they have been. And this is a very powerful feeling. It is, at first, it's traumatizing. It is. And that's where you, then when you're in a traumatized situation, guess what comes? Look, here it is, trauma. Oh, God, oh, no. This is brutal. This is bad. What do you think this is? Lifting up the trauma again, getting back on your feet again. That is called resilience. You could, what a lot of people do, this is why I love people, okay? I know when I'm loved because somebody will say, why don't we take a walk? That means, Greg, you've got too much body fat. I like you, and I don't have a lot of body fat. So you can rely on me to take a walk to help reduce your body fat because I'm your friend. That's what love looks like. That's what love looks like. Okay? I'm chemically free pretty much, except for coffee and pot, once, twice, 3 times a month if I'm feeling crazy. But I don't like chemicals at all. I don't like medications. Tylenols, and I'm wary of sugar. You know what I mean? But caffeine, I'm addicted to. So I come in as the guy that doesn't drink or do drugs, and 50 years old. You would think most people are watching that. It's not true. They're caught up in their past. Most people are drinking. Most people are. This is what I say. In America, my peers either see a bartender all the time, a few times a week, a pharmacist all the time getting medications that alter their mind from a therapist, like antidepressants and anti-anxieties and antipsychotics and anti. Okay? These are things that can't do. I don't agree with this stuff. I hope their lives are better. That's the point. Or they find their drug dealers on the street and they're using all kinds of illegal narcotics, which make them feel better temporarily. Now, you could live that way. I'm not better because I hate that. I hate those ways. The bartender is the least damaging person, but alcohol is so very, very bad for you. It's very, very tricky. So I'm the friend who says, hey, if you're trying to get sober or these things don't matter to you, come over and have a coffee. But I'm going to talk. See how much I talk? People who are stranded in this world of chemicals, they don't talk. They don't talk at all almost. They don't talk about themselves. They talk about external things which help them feel like there's nothing wrong with them. So right away you have this reality that if you don't have resilience, you're not going to be able to make it through these fake relationships. I didn't know they were fake. It took me a long time to realize, oh, wait a minute. These people are all aligned. Now, they don't have a group. They don't go to a fucking hall, but they kind of do. You see, if you stay mainstream, if you believe everything in American mainstream without any study, thought, depth, or honesty about what you're seeing, like for instance, do you think the COVID vaccines are safe and normal? Do you think it's a very normal thing to have to vaccinate the entire world 10 months after a vaccine? I mean, a virus that was aligned as well with the 5G building of the entire world and towers, and having the same symptoms as radiation sickness, simply because the power that they were building in every single town, many places in the area, could be handled and turned on and turned up, and all of a sudden everyone could be sick. Am I right? No, I'm not right. Am I crazy? Fine, I'm crazy. But are you someone who believes that in 10 months they're going to create a helpful vaccine led by the man, I won't say his name, who also has been proven to have made up and or falsified and or used humans as guinea pigs in the AIDS epidemic? I'm 2 hours north from where all of that started and happened. My rice is done. So I'm not denying that I could be wrong. They love calling me crazy. But again, guess who else was crazy? Abe Lincoln. Why? Well, he started to realize in the middle of the night, he woke up and yelled at the moon and said, A man cannot be 3/5 of a man. And the white guys were like, shut up. We got people picking, we got all this free labor. Of course he's 3/5 of a man. He's black. He's not like us. He's not smart and cool. He's like a machine of slavery. That's why we have him enslaved. We're going to beat him. And shut up. You are crazy, Abe Lincoln. He's 3/5 of a man. Michael Jordan is 3/5 of me? Or am I 1/72nd of him? Michael Jordan is 3/5 of me. Okay, this is I got tears in my eyes from laughter, but this is how crazy works. This is how you have to understand what crazy is. And don't forget, resilience means challenging reality. Well, it is actually being aligned with reality, but it's challenging the line. I want to do a lot more, but I've got to get this food off of the oven there and get some stuff going on. I'm going to call this resilience level 1. I think I'm going to do another resilience video, resilience level 2. All right. See you in a bit.